High hopes. Hello, friends. My name is Jake Montanez, and this is my self-publishing blog where I document my journey to become self-published. And in today's video, I want to talk about the expectations I have for releasing my book and what I think may or may not happen when I do so and why. So, coffee mug aside, I don't honestly expect to become a best-selling author right out the gate, nor anytime soon. There's a few reasons for that. One is that I don't really study any market. I honestly haven't read more than like 5 books in the last 2 years. Been taking it really slow, been doing a lot of watching TikTok and YouTube and things, so I'm kind of out of the game of actively reading a lot of new stuff. But what the stuff I have been reading is independent authors, because that is where I'm going into. That's the field I'm trying to work for. And comparing myself in many aspects to similar books in the fantasy niche that I'm trying to occupy, trying to get a feel for what my competition is. I don't really consider them competition. They're just other people doing the same thing that I'm doing. But I just want to get a like a mental gauge on how things are going. And I think that my writing, compared to several of the people that I've read, is at least on par with them. So that's kind of a good feeling, knowing going into that. I've only had a couple of people read my books, or my book. The Lightblessed was its own little book by itself. I had a buddy of mine read it at work. He got all the way through it, loved it, and then I told him, hey, I'm going to take this whole concept and split it up into 3 books. He's like, oh, holy shit, how are you going to do that? And when I talked to him, I was like, well, here's this first third of the book. This is where I wanted to stop, call this book 1. Then from here to here, I'm going to call this book 2. And from here to here, call that book 3. And I was like, whoa, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it could be really good if you do it right. So I'm like, cool. I had kind of a little bit of a backing, and I thought that would be great. Then I started rewriting it and brought that first book, that first 1/3 of it, to him again. I don't think he read all of it. He keeps getting sidetracked, and we were reading it at work, so it's not like we actively had a lot of time to do it. But he got at least 1/3 of the way through, maybe halfway through, and he said, compared to this first version that you did, night and day difference. Didn't think there was anything wrong with the first way you did it, but this is so much better. You filled in so many gaps of information that weren't there before and added a whole lot of things. So that gave me a boost of confidence as well. I had another coworker read that on the side, and she was devouring it just as fast as I was putting it out there. She said she absolutely loved everything about it. Now, those are 2 people who are coworkers and are more likely to just say that they love my book to make me feel good. So I'll take that with a grain of salt. But it's a positive sign. I'll take that for what it is. So that's basically what amounted to like an alpha and a beta read for me. It's not sending out 1,000,000 copies to people to beta read. It's not getting ARC reviews or anything like that. And I'm not going to do that, at least for this first release. I understand and know that having like a cadre of extra people who have put eyes on the book and have read it and have reviews ready to go as soon as the book goes live will definitely get a boost to sales, will definitely get a boost to visibility, at least as far as algorithms go. And I'm not pushing for all of that. That's not really where I wanted to go with this. The thrust of this first book, honestly, is, can I do this? I want to be able to be successful to myself in knowing that I was able to put together the effort to get everything done, and I'm not expecting a lot of sales. I'd love to have a lot of sales, honestly. That's why I keep talking about it here on video platforms and things like that. But first thing out of the gate, that's not really my initial goal. I'd like to have that eventually sometime. That's what my coffee mug says, future best-selling author. I don't expect to be an instantaneous best-selling author. I'm not Stephen King, right? Nothing. I don't have a baseline for that. But I like to think I have a good shot at doing things. Beyond just proving to myself that I can succeed at this, whether I'm successful by any benchmark that any people make, as far as copies sold, pages read, amount of profit I make, that's not my gauge for success there. My gauge for success is just completing the task. Completing the task for me is finishing this fucking edit that's taking me forever and getting it formatted, I've got the book cover. I've got the internal art, as far as I'm aware at this point, that I wanted to have. I still would like to have a map eventually added to the book, but that's not in my budget, so I'm going to skip that for now. But I think I'll have a pretty decent looking product when I get it out there. And that is my bar for success. With the second book, I would like to parlay that into more success for the first book, drawing people to the second book, and then eventually drawing to the third book. And somewhere down the line after that, hopefully start being able to make a decent enough size income that I can scale back from working overtime every week just to make ends meet at work. And that's really the first thrust of all of this. But that's years down the line, 2 to 3 years now still. But yeah, those are kind of my expectations. Wanted to let you know that I don't have my hopes up super high. If they're not super high, I'm not going to be let down, but I do have goals that I'm aiming for, and those are just in the future. I'm not worried about making bank off of the first book or even the second or third book, but to get a ball rolling, to prove to myself that I can do this, and to get that personal drive going more than it already is. The fact that it's taken me about 3 years so far to get to this point, it's kind of demoralizing in its own way, but I feel like I'm on the cusp of getting this out there, and that makes me feel really good, and I just wanted to share that with you. So if you've watched this far and you like to continue watching my journey, please click like, share my videos, subscribe to my channels wherever you're watching this, and I just want to let you know that I appreciate you and thank you. Have a nice day.